Alrighty. There we go. All right. All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of Daily Brotein with Kyler. So this is episode 14, and we finally have our interview. I've been saying for the last like 3 episodes that we're gonna have an interview next week, and then we kept changing it. So she's finally here, Megan Murray. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so my name is Megan Murray. I'm a certified personal trainer. I have a huge passion for health and fitness. I am currently, as of a month ago, Bear Performance Nutrition's community manager, and that's a very new and exciting role that I've recently taken on. And with this role, I work directly with the marketing and creative team of BPN, and then I also work directly with the Director of Business Operations, Daniel Clinton, on the Ambassador program. So that's the main thing I'm focused on right now, and it all sparked from my own passion with health and fitness and losing weight, and then picking up weightlifting.
All of it,
yeah, all the things, yeah. But right now, my passion is with BPN.
Okay. So I guess my first question is kind of how did you get into fitness? Like, what was your start and kind of your journey in the fitness world?
Yeah, so kind of going back into high school, I was into sports. I was a swimmer because I hated anything having to do with running, and swimming was the one sport that I didn't have to run. So I was co-captain of the varsity swim team in high school, and then when I got to college, I didn't go the sport route, and that's when I kind of started packing on the weight, the freshman 15, and when you turn 21, you end up drinking a lot of your calories. Yep. So it was my senior year of college when I realized I did not like the way I felt. I felt unhealthy, and I just knew I wanted to make a change. Throughout college, I was always up and down in weight, just doing kind of fad diets, and then I reached a point where I wanted a sustainable lifestyle change. So I actually joined Weight Watchers, and that just kind of introduced me into just tracking food in a way that wasn't overwhelming. Right. And then I ended up losing 25 pounds doing that. And then I reached a point where there was no more like weight to lose, and I needed a new goal. Mm-hmm. So that's when I learned about tracking macros and fueling myself for goals, with building strength. And so that's where my passion with macros came from. And I realized that there wasn't much I could do with my body with weighing little amount. Like, I wanted to be able to be strong and perform. So and so it's been since 2017 where I've been learning so much about health and fitness, and how there's so much more to life than losing weight, but feeding yourself to fuel yourself for your goals. And that's where I'm at right now. Right now I'm juggling weightlifting and now training for the Austin Half Marathon with BPN.
It is hard to balance weightlifting and running. It's
yes.
tough.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's a huge challenge. And like I said, I am not a fan of running. So the fact that I'm purposely putting running into my routine right now is a huge challenge. And I think that's where you grow the most, is when you challenge yourself. So, but yeah, I know that you've been running.
The funny thing is, so the beginning of quarantine, I was like, you know what? Like, that's when I got into BPN and like started watching Nick on YouTube, and like, he inspired me to start running, and like that was my priority. Like, I would run before I lifted, and like I didn't really care what I did lifting wise. It was all running. And it wasn't till I think it was July, so that I started, like, I want to say beginning of April. It was like a couple weeks into quarantine. Mm-hmm. and then my hips started acting up, and like mid-July-ish, maybe even the end of June. And so I stopped for a while, and then luckily one of my girlfriend's good friends is a PT. So she looked at it, did some exercises, and so it's been a lot better, but I kind of have to, like, I can't run every day. And it's been lately, every time I run, I'm just exhausted. I don't know what it is, if I have more on my plate or something, but I'll lift and then I'll run, and I'm just like wiped out even the next day. So I don't know how I did it. I was running 7 miles.
You're running 7 miles?
Not anymore. In the beginning of quarantine. In the beginning of quarantine, I was running, I think I got into a schedule where I was running Mondays, and I think it was Mondays and Thursdays. I did like 6 days a week. Mondays and Thursdays were like 4 miles. And then I would do 7 on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And then like one or 2 days, I'd go to the track and do like sprints. Plus at least 5 times a week.
That blows my mind
But
that you're
that's
able
what
to.
Nick does, and I'm like, how the hell does he maintain that and like everything that he does? Like, it is like, the running for me is exhausting because like I don't hate running, but I have like a love hate relationship is what I call it. So if I once I started getting into it, I loved it, but like getting
Yeah.
into it was rough. Like I remember
Oh yeah,
and I was like out of breath. I was like, oh my god, this is terrible. But I slowly got
yeah.
into
It sucks to start
it
over.
because I feel like that was definitely for me was a challenge because I always gravitate towards weightlifting because that's what I've done for years and I just like it more. So definitely putting running first was definitely a challenge, and I grew to love it. It's just hard to maintain both, as I'm sure you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. Running like you wipes me out. Like I do my long runs on Sunday, and I feel like I am useless
Right.
after a long
I don't
run
want
on a
to do
Sunday.
anything. I think
Oh,
I ran the other day, like last week, and I literally came home and like it was one of the hot days here in California and turned the AC on and literally laid on the floor and fell asleep. Like that's how exhausted I was. And I was like, what? Heck, I don't know. And it was only like I mean, it was an intense run, but it was like a 3 mile run.
maybe your body is just asking you for some more rest days. You know,
That's
your body does tell you a lot. I mean, I make sure that after my long run on Sunday, I don't do a run on Mondays
right.
usually
Right.
because I know how wiped out. I mean, it's so true. Like I learned how much, like my body, everyone's different, but I know for myself, if I don't get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep, especially after I've worked it really hard, I just can't catch back up.
Right.
So maybe you could play around with,
No,
as hard as it
sleep
feels
is
like to
definitely
rest, it's like, you
right.
got to do it.
No, sleep is a huge one that I like personally need to work on. Like it was funny. I was working on my friend this morning, and I like told him I was like, I got like 8 to 9 hours of sleep last night, which is rare for me. Usually it's like
Wow.
7 to maybe 8, average. And I feel like a new person. It's crazy. I'm like, I
It's
need
the,
coffee. I feel great. But so that's one thing I need to work on is just getting more sleep consistent.
yep.
Because I'll have
Yeah.
one night
Most
and then
people,
it will just be shit the rest of the week. And then it
yeah.
just, so that's a big thing for me, definitely. So I definitely think that plays a factor, because when you're weightlifting and running, obviously you're burning more calories. So
Yeah. Making sure you're eating enough and then, yeah, recovering through sleep. So important. Because you're doing Nick's hybrid Embrace the Suck workout, right? Or were you? I think I
I
saw.
am, but I just kind of cut back on the running just
Okay.
because like today I was supposed to run. There's some days it's like 8 miles, and then the workouts themselves are exhausting. Like I think it was today I did a push day, so it's like core 4 days. I think it's 4 days a week at the beginning of a workout. So it's like hang leg raises, planks, and then today we did the pal off press, that one, and then it was bench, push ups. What else was there? Dips, tricep extensions, and lateral raises.
Does he have you program where you do a run in the big, like you split up the runs and the lifting on
Yeah,
days that
you're supposed
both?
to split it up separately. So
Okay.
like that's what I was doing beginning of quarantine is I would usually run on my own in the morning, get it over with, and then refuel, rehydrate, and then go lift in the afternoon. And that seemed
Wow.
to work well, like spacing out at least 3 hours between workouts because there's no way you can. I've done running and then do lifting right away, or do the opposite, and you're just exhausted. It's like a 3 4 hour workout, and you're just completely done by the end. So
And it's just so time consuming. It's a huge balance trying to figure out how to do both. And it's tough because I'm someone who I do enjoy both, but it is such a time commitment. It's
right,
crazy.
no, for sure. That's why I'm like I'm amazed how he does it with everything that he does, and he's like I just did 7 miles, and I'm like I'm just waking up, that
I
kind
know.
of
I
stuff.
think he's someone, I think he's the like part of the rare population where he can thrive off of little sleep. Like some people can do that. I just know I can't. Like, and that's where a lot of my time is taken up where I'm trying to get in that sleep. But
Right.
everyone's different.
And I used to like that too, but I feel like lately I've definitely needed my body's needed more sleep for some reason. I don't know what it is, but
I mean, you're
definitely,
working it really hard, so.
yeah. Um, it's funny you said your like whole journey reminds me of mine because I played sports all growing up, and then high school my main sport was football, and then I was looking to play in college, but kind of the same thing. Like I just didn't. I was burnt out at the time, and I was like, you
Mhm.
know what? Like I want to get out of. I grew up in Orange County down in Southern California, and all the
Okay.
schools that I could have gone to were either like in LA or Orange County, and I was like, you know what? I want to get out of here, and that's why I went to Sonoma State, and that's how I came up to Northern California and just focus on school. But
Mhm.
that first, so I had gained, I was always chubby like growing up, but I was active, you know. And then once I hit middle school and beginning of high school, I definitely leaned out. But I played offensive line and defensive line in high school, and then my coach was like, "You need to gain weight. You need to gain weight." And like it took me 3 years, and I gained the wrong kind of weight because I was eating crap. You know, like I didn't know.
Right.
I was just eating, working out, going to practice. So I got up to like 230, 235 was my heaviest my senior year, and I didn't
Wow.
like it. Like I was harder to move around, but it was harder for me to move around. You know, and then
Yeah.
I think high school, you know, and all my workouts were around football, and I didn't have football anymore. So it was really hard to get that motivation to work out. My whole freshman year, I maybe worked out 3 times a week at Sonoma State, but nothing consistent. You know, my diet was terrible. You know, eating
Yep.
cafeteria, eating McDonald's, 7-Eleven, like it was terrible. Somehow I lost 10 pounds. It was probably all muscle, you know, got down
Uh,
to
see it.
225. Yeah, I think because I wasn't maintaining anything. And it
Yeah.
wasn't till the next summer I was like, okay, like I want to get my confidence back, you know, get healthier. And I did the P90X program. You know what that is?
I know a little bit about it.
It's
If
just
you
one of
want
those like, DVD. It's Tony Horton, like he's been in the fitness industry for a long time, but it's one of those like DVD workouts you put in, and like there's different days like leg day, core day, and they're tough, you know. So I started doing that with my brother, and then it kind of just branched off into me like doing research about nutrition on my own, you know, just cleaning up my diet, running, you know, being more active, and I lost 30 pounds in 3 months and got down
wow.
to 195, and that's kind of where my fitness journey took off per se. So
Wow.
that
That
was
is cool how they're similar.
right,
And it's so crazy. Like for me, I was always at least going to the gym or doing something active, but I was consuming way more calories than I was burning. So it's like nothing really clicked for me until I got the diet right, and I learned more about nutrition and the benefits of having more protein, and you
right,
still need fats and carbs and that whole balance. Like
all the little
it
things,
just yeah, and just learning what a caloric deficit is, and it's crazy. And I think now too, I'm not in a caloric deficit. I'm maintaining, plus probably have a slight surplus because I want to lift heavier.
right,
But it's just so crazy how different my mind is towards food, and my relationship with food is now. Instead of looking at it as if like, oh, I need to eat as little as possible, it's like I want to eat as most as I can as possible, and
right.
trying to push that. So, and I think it's just so important. I try to share that on my Instagram as much as possible. And I was going through a phase when I was reverse dieting and bringing my calories up. Like you want to try to eat as much as you can, and fuel yourself for your goal. The goal shouldn't be to eat as little as possible. So I think just sharing that knowledge with people and other women, especially, I think a lot of women
Oh
think
yeah,
that
one hundred
they should
percent.
always be dieting.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
being. So you said you're a trainer, right? So have you trained people in the past? Have you worked at a gym or anything like
I
that?
did work at a gym. So before, so my husband's in the military and we just moved
Mhm.
to Washington. And so we were living in Texas, and I worked at the Naval Air Station gym, but I wasn't in fitness. I was the sports and aquatics coordinator there. But right before that is when I was studying and I got my personal training certification. And then my plan was to do personal training on my own. And then I happened to get this job, and it was a full-time job. So I didn't have time to pursue personal training. And then after that, we moved here, and then COVID hit, and I'm like, okay, this isn't a great time to do in-person training. And I
Right.
wasn't ready to go online yet. So I just was sharing my knowledge through my Instagram platform. And then through COVID, I started studying for my precision nutrition certification. And I'm still working on that because between that and now I got a new job with
Right.
BPN. So I've been pouring my heart into that. But so long story short, no, I haven't done any one-on-one personal training. I haven't taken any money for training. And I think I just came to realize that I love sharing my passion and my knowledge as something that I love to do versus making income off of it. And
No, it makes
I
sense.
think that took me a while.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for some people, that's what they want their career to be. I thought for a while that's what I wanted my career to be. But I think just part of me kept not coming up with excuses not to do it, but my direction wasn't going, or my path wasn't going in that direction. And then this door opened with BPN, and I realized I want my passion with health and fitness to be within a company I believe in versus me, I think, just making personal training into my career.
Right.
So, but I've learned a lot. I
Yeah.
loved all that I learned through the certifications.
Right. I was just gonna piggyback off that because when you talk about diet, like that's the biggest thing. Like when I tell people they need to eat more, like clients, they're like all amazed, like what? Like they've never heard that before. And
Yeah.
it's such a big like misconception out there, you know, in the fitness
Hmm.
industry and the health industry is like eat less and you'll lose weight, you know. And it's just with all these fad diets, it's just it goes on. It's crazy. So that's just what I thought of.
I know. And social media isn't any
Mm-mm.
help when there's all these fad diets and different things like the keto diet. When the whole purpose of keto wasn't to be a fat loss diet. It's for people who have a certain dietary restrictions. It sucks how certain diets or certain ways of eating are turned into fad diets, when there's so much more to it. So I love that there's so many more people who do have a social less is just as bad as eating too much. Like your
Right.
body could be holding on to fat because you're, starving it essentially.
100%. 100%. What's funny is I just noticed that you're talking. I almost wore the same shirt.
My connection doesn't go back.
Mm.
No way! Yeah, you
Yeah, I
should
was
have
gonna wear that. It's funny when I interviewed Adam, I wore that shirt and I was like, oh, I could wear that one, but I was like, I've already worn it, so I wore this one instead. But what do you know? We could have been twinning.
Oh, that's my I was giving a break. We were almost 20.
Almost. So
Is
close.
my connection okay?
It's going in and out. Like there was a little part that I missed, but it's okay. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I live on the RV station here, so the Wi-Fi isn't always the best. So hopefully this will hold up to the interview.
Well, it was good until now. It was fine the entire time. Now it's a little iffy, but that's okay. Um, my next question was kind of be how did you one get involved with BPN and kind of get started with them and kind of what was your like how did you get started with social media and how did it kind of take off to where you're at now?
So I started my Instagram account, Bacon, Mac and Cheese, in I believe it's 2017. It's like 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And that was right after I graduated college and I had lost the weight and I had learned so much through my own journey of losing weight that I felt this would be a great way to. I feel like it's a never ending journey. And I just figured I want to start sharing what I'm learning. And at that time, I had just moved with my husband Sean, and
Mhm.
so I was looking for a job, and my degree is in public relations. So I felt like also want to have a platform to practice my PR skills and just hone in on my passion. So I created that account 3 years ago, and then how I got involved with BPN is my husband Sean used to watch Nick Bear's YouTube videos before Sean even joined the military. So this is when Nick was still in the military. Sean wanted to join the military, so he would watch a lot of his videos. So Sean introduced me to BPN, and then as I got more passionate and learned more about health and fitness, that's when I started to buy the BPN supplements. And then we ended up moving to Texas in 2018. So, and that we were in South Texas. So we were about 3 hours away from BPN headquarters. Um, and so when BPN, I think it was just, yeah, it was last year, they were going to do the Run One More event. I we talked about how I hate running.
Right.
Their Run One More event was about running a 5K, a half marathon, or a full marathon. I'm like, I don't want to do any of those, but I really want to go to the BPN HQ. So I
Right.
was like, I guess I got to sign up to run this so I have an excuse to go. So, and the whole point of the Run One More event was run one more than you think you're capable of. And I knew I could run 3 miles. So I'm like, I guess I have to run 13 miles. So I signed up for it and trained for it, went out there, I got to meet everybody. And like sharing the product, I just love everything BPN offers. So it was just very organic. And then fast forward to this past April when they announced their ambassador program. I applied to that, and then I was selected as one of the first 10 ambassadors. And through that, I just became it just became another huge passion. I was just so invested and involved with the ambassador program and the team, and that's how I got to know Daniel, the director of business operations. And then I pretty much just put myself out there, letting them know like I'm so passionate and I would love to work for the team. And Nick ended up reaching out to me and wanting to fly me out for a job opportunity, and they offered me a job, and now we're here.
That's awesome. I was gonna say, how is that going? How is that job going?
It's awesome. It's remote right now, which is crazy because they haven't had any remote employees. I'm their very first remote employee. So I feel really grateful that I can work for the company and still be here in Washington with Sean. But it's so awesome. It's crazy to me that I get to wake up and do what I do and call it a job, because it's something I already love doing anyway. Right now, I'm currently helping to plan the Run One More event coming up this February, which will be the second annual Run One More event for the Austin Marathon. And it's just crazy that last year I was there running it just as, you know, a customer and a fan, and now I'm here helping plan it. So it's just, to me, I feel like it's a pinch me moment. I feel like it's not real, but it's a very, very cool position to be in.
Right. And so are you doing the full marathon for the Austin Marathon?
Heck no. Not right now. I mean, maybe next year. I need to get another half under my belt. I can't even believe I'm running a half again, because I told myself last year I was not going to run again. But I think too, this year, what's a big difference is I'm about 20 pounds heavier than it was last year. Mm-hmm. Last year I was like, lean was the goal. I was leaning out for my wedding, and then this whole year since then, that was in November. Since then, my goal has been to gain strength and to reverse back up to maintenance, and like we talked about, eat more food. So it's definitely hard to run the pace I was running before when I'm 20 pounds heavier. My goal has been strength. So yeah, so my goal this year is just to go out with the team and have fun, and I'm not going to put any pressure on myself to have a certain time goal, just more so to do with the team.
Just to be there and do it. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so maybe next year, but I'm trying to get you to run it.
I know. Well, if I can get back into running and not be so exhausted, then I'll do at least a half marathon. I don't think I can do a full, but I think I can do a half.
Or a 5K, you know, you can always start with a 5K.
5K is too easy. Like you said, 5K is too easy. I got to do the half marathon at least. That's a challenge for me. 5K, what is 5K? It's 3 point something? Or is that, how far is 5K?
Yeah. It's three something.
Yes.
3.1? I don't know.
I mean, I could do that, but I want to challenge myself and do the half marathon for sure. So
yeah, that'd be so fun. And we're going to be doing a huge, you know, BPN event. Have you ever been to Texas?
Nope.
This sounds like it might be the time.
It might be.
Come to the HQ.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think that'll be the big thing that'll help everyone get out there.
Right. I only have a couple more questions for you, but I was going to say kind of how, because I know this last week after you took a week off from social media for obvious reasons, and you said it was really healthy and you needed it, how do you balance kind of your real life and social media? Because I think that's the hardest thing for me too, is like I'm a very in the moment person, you know, and I don't normally take videos like or pictures. Like all the pictures I have in my Instagram, me and my girlfriend, is because she reminds us like, oh, we need to take a picture. Like I would never. I just don't think about it. You know, it's not that I don't want to. It's just I'm in the moment. I'm doing it, and so that's the hardest thing for me. Is like, oh, I should record this, or I could put this on there. And so, kind of, how do you balance that?
Yeah, it is not easy. I will definitely say, like, there's times where it's like, oh, I don't want anything to do with social media. I just want to be present. Mm-hmm. But then I think about how I built this community, and the whole purpose is that I made it is because I want to share with others. I want to help others. So I try to make sure that anything I share, the intention behind it is I'm either sharing something that is vulnerable or sharing knowledge with them, or I'm motivating them. And I think that I don't ever want to just put up a picture with like an emoji and that's that. Like if I'm taking a photo, it's because I want to put something up with it with intention. And I think a lot of guys too, I think, because Sean's the same way. Like he doesn't take photos ever. I think it's not a natural thing for him to do, but he's
Yeah.
also someone that doesn't want to have a social media presence. So it's tough. I mean, I think you have to decide, like, is this something that you want to do? Is
Right.
this something you
No,
want to
for
commit
sure.
to? And you have to also think, like, what's your why behind the page, you know? I mean,
Right.
if the only way to really build a community is to show up and be consistent and share something that's valuable.
Yep. I agree 100%. And my last question, I have two more questions for you. Do you have any like tips for newcomers, either to social media or like starting a new fitness goal or trying to lose weight or whatever? Any tips?
This sounds super easy, but it truly just start. Like, I think a lot of people, and I've done it myself, I just second guess, or, oh, I'm not ready because I need to do this, this, and this first. It's like, just start. If you're wanting to learn how to run, just run. Start with maybe running for 10 minutes without stopping, and then move up to 20 minutes. You know, I think it's just start with the basics when it comes to social media.
Yep.
Post something that resonates with you. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be the most perfect picture with the most perfect caption. I mean, if you wanted to scroll back all the way to the beginning of my Instagram, it's probably food pics that are not good quality. You know what I mean? But you're
Mine,
not going to
yeah.
learn and grow unless you just start doing it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
What? Yours is the same way?
Yeah, mine's probably the same way. It's probably terrible. Because I started mine, I think it was before I started working at Crunch, the gym I work at now. So it's probably around the same time that you started yours, like 2017, 18, I think, maybe
17.
beginning.
Yeah.
But there's just, yeah, the quality is way different. But no, I agree. I think that's the
It's
hardest
good
thing to get
though.
across. What's up?
Mm-hmm. I'd say that's good though. If you're cringing at what you used to post, it means you've grown, you know?
Yeah, you learn, exactly. But you have to start somewhere. That's definitely the hardest thing to get across to like clients and people like trying to hit fitness goals is it's like you start small. It's like the small things that you do every day add up to the long-term goal. I think people often get short-sighted and they look at, oh, I need to lose 50 pounds in a year or whatever, and then they get burnt out real quick because that's all they're focusing on rather than like, oh, I lost 2 pounds in this week or whatever. So I definitely think that's
Yeah.
starting is the biggest thing, as with most things.
Yeah, and like you said, it's all the little steps that add up. I think so many people want to change 5 things at once and then they can't keep up with it and they get discouraged and they quit. It's like you got to start, even if it's like drinking, a gallon of water a day. And once that becomes habit, then add something else and start with making sure you get 8 hours of sleep. It's like, yep. So it's just the small things. People think it's this big change. It's like just the little things.
Yeah, just the little things. Okay, last question is kind of a fun one. So what is like a favorite workout song that you like? What do you listen to?
Oh, I'm all over the place with music. I love like Rise Against, Day to Remember. I love pop. I'm all over the place. I will say if I'm lifting really heavy, it's definitely going to be like Bring Me the Horizon,
Okay.
like that hardcore music. And then when I'm running, it's like not dubstep, but like techno,
Something
electronic, like things that kind of just, yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's like I have
That's
different
good.
music for different styles. Yeah. What about you?
For me, it really when it comes to definitely lifting heavy, I go more like I don't really listen to what's the band you said?
Bring Me the Horizon.
Okay, yeah, I just couldn't I know who they are, I just don't really listen to them. But like Slipknot, System of the Down, like
Yeah.
Five Finger Death Punch.
Yes.
It's funny, one day I was working
Yes.
out with my girlfriend and I was like, oh, this is what I listen to when I lift, and it was Five Finger Death Punch. Not a fan. But for lifting heavy, I would say is definitely more like hard rock metal, if you want to call it metal. Sometimes rap, like harder rap. Running, it depends. Sometimes honestly, I'll listen to movie soundtracks if I need to get motivated, like put some
I
Rocky
like
on
that.
there or whatever. Or sometimes it'll be like dubstep if I want something more upbeat. It really just depends on my mood, what kind of motivates me.
Yeah. Or country, if it's like a pretty day out and I'm like running down the back roads, I need some country music.
Sure,
Like
I have done that.
that's
Yeah,
how
it's
I,
definitely different between lifting and running. That is for sure. But yeah,
yeah.
that depends on
Yeah.
the mood.
I completely agree.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I play
Anything
some
else that you want to share?
sometimes. Sorry, what was that?
I said that's all the questions I've got for you. I was like, is there anything else that you want to share?
I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you
Seriously, I
coming
think
on.
it's
I'm
it's
glad
so
we were
fun to come.
finally able to do it.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, this is my favorite part about BPN is the people that I get to meet,
Right.
and social media. There's so many people through the platform that I would never have met if it weren't for Instagram and then
Right.
BPN bringing all these people together. So
Yeah,
I think this is
it's a
super
whole
cool.
community, you know, which is awesome.
Yeah,
All right, well that's it.
definitely.
Appreciate you
Sweet. Well,
coming
thanks
on.
for having me.
That was a fun
Definitely.
conversation. Yeah. Good luck. You're driving to Seattle, you said?
Yeah, I'm actually heading to BPN tomorrow. So I'm going to drive up to Seattle tonight because I have a really early flight tomorrow out of Seattle, and I didn't want to have to drive down at like 4 a.m. tomorrow.
I don't blame you. That makes sense. Well, have
Yeah.
a safe drive, safe flight. Enjoy.
Thank you. And you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.